The term denial in the healthcare world has two meanings. First, the obvious. It's a psychological term often used to describe a natural defense mechanism in which we ignore feeling unpleasant. Second, it's a term that's best described as one of the medical organization's worst nightmares. You see, the second meaning for denial in healthcare happens when an insurance organization doesn't accept services rendered by a physician. In other words, a denial in the medical billing space means that you aren't getting paid. It's as simple as that. Sure, you could say I'm being a little bit melodramatic here. After all, a seasoned medical billing professional will be the first to tell you that certain denials are less of something that you can avoid and more so an inevitability. They have a point with that. Either way, they're not called an acceptance by any means, so they're still bad news. A recent study found that denial write-offs sit at an average of 53%. A rate that high isn't something that many organizations can afford, leaving smaller practices with a hard decision to make. If you're faced with that scenario, you really only have one option to pursue, and that's to submit appeal letter. Hi everyone, I'm Matt from eTactics, and today I'm going to give you 5 sample appeal letters that are so good you should write home about them. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit the alert bell icon next to it as well, so when we post new helpful content, you get notified. The first sample appeal letter I have for you is actually a template. Its whole purpose is time savings. Not only are you at a disadvantage already from a statistical standpoint when it comes to medical claim denials, but also from a time perspective as well. You see, the majority of doctors and physicians and healthcare professionals already state that they need at least 50% more time with patients. That statistic proves that facilities just don't have time. If these organizations had more time, they would allot it towards their clients, and I don't blame them for that. You see, getting paid by an insurance provider helps keep the lights on, but it doesn't take precedent over client time. So if time is the leading factor as to why your organization doesn't send appeal letters for your medical claim denials, what should you do? You need to make a template appeal letter. The first sample appeal letter from Mount Home Arts is exactly that, a template. Every time you receive a medical claim denial, there's data you will always receive back, such as insurance provider, claim adjustment reason code or CARC, and date of denial. Now that isn't that much data, but that's all you'll need because you'll already have all the additional information available to you. Plug in what comes back from the insurance organization and the information you already know into your appeal letter template. Talk about a time saver. The second sample appeal letter places a heavy emphasis on branding. For healthcare providers, branding is oftentimes an afterthought. I'm not trying to call you out if you fall within this majority. It goes back to what I stated earlier. Your number one priority is providing care for your clients. Not to mention the fact that oftentimes a doctor's name and title carries enough weight in most eyes to know that anything sent from them is important. However, when it comes to sending appeal letters to insurance organizations, they're all coming from medical facilities. In other words, although being a doctor is a great achievement that leads to a certain level of respect in society, it's not going to lend you any greater chances of your appeal letter having success in the health insurance world. All of this means that you need to figure out a way to make your letter stand out to the insurance companies you're sending to. The best way to achieve this goal is by incorporating your brand throughout the document. This example from arthritis.org accomplishes that technique extremely well. My third sample actually deals more with best practices. Keep records and tracking information. If you're manually sending your appeal letters, you need to make sure that you're keeping a record. That record should not only include a copy of what you sent, but also when you sent it and when it reached the insurance payer. The last part of what I just said is what's most important. Whether you're sending your appeal letter through the mail or electronically, it's imperative that you have tracking information. This is such an important piece of the puzzle because it gives you a timeline glimpse into the process involved with trying to appeal a denied claim. The reality is that you may have to follow up multiple times with providers regarding your medical claim denial. But if you don't keep records and or don't have tracking information on what you send, it makes the follow-up process that much harder for you. Fourth is the insurance provider appeal form. Since the insurance providers are the organizations who deny the medical claims that you submit, they have no choice but to have a standardized process put in place. Thus, many of them allow for electronic submission, but only if you use the form that they provide. The form on the screen right now is just the first page in the appeal form provided by Medical Mutual. It has everything going for it. It's templated, branded, and uses interactive forms. It even provides extra information about the insurance organization's timely filing limits. Maybe this is the golden sample. We can throw out every other sample away, right? Wrong. You see, on a small scale, sending and filling out the electronic appeal letter forms that exist on insurance providers' websites is attainable. However, not every patient that comes through your door seeking help uses Medical Mutual as their insurance provider. I wager to bet that if 10 of your patients walk through your doors all at once, less than half of them would use the same insurance. I've been saving the best for last, but my fifth sample for you is an auto-generated sample appeal letter. Looking at the samples provided thus far will help you lessen the time it takes to resubmit your medical claim denials, no doubt. But what if I told you that there's a sample appeal letter type that can save you the most time? Okay, I know what you're thinking. The sample on the screen right now is essentially the same form as the one from the previous section. You're right, except for the fact that this one is for United Healthcare instead of Medical Mutual. The difference isn't the form though, it's how the information gets appended to it. You see, there are solutions out there that automatically pre-fill appeal forms, regardless of the insurance provider. To make things even better, these solutions auto-generate an appeal letter as well. Now by the end of this video, you've gone through a whirlwind of emotion, I'm sure. Although it's worth looking into different sample appeal letters for medical claim denials that are out there, they're not the best option for you. In order to truly tackle the mountain of denials that your organization deals with, you're faced with two options. First, you could be like the majority of healthcare practices and write off your denials as a loss in your books every year. Second, you could invest a little bit of money up front into a solution that streamlines your entire appeal letter submission process. The second option helps you conquer your denial situation, leading to an overall increase in your revenue in the long run. If you'd like to learn more about automating the sending of denial letters, reach out to eTactics. And you already made it this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.